How do antibiotics work? Hi, welcome to Curious Kids Every Day. I'm Josh. How are you doing today? It's so good to hear from you. Hey, do you know what an antibiotic is? If you have an antibiotic in your home right now, where can I guess that your family has probably been recently? Yep, the doctor's office. The doctor might decide that you need an antibiotic. Sometimes we just call antibiotics medicine. But medicine doesn't have to be an antibiotic. Sometimes it is, though. Sometimes, when you have an infection, an antibiotic can help. But with some sicknesses, they don't help. So what do antibiotics do? And how are they made? Have you ever had to take an antibiotic before? I was thinking about this today because I got an email from a couple of curious kids named Thomas and Deacon. They wondered, how are antibiotics made and how do they work? Some sicknesses are caused by tiny living things called bacteria. Bacteria are so small that you need a microscope to see them. Now, we've talked before on the show about how some bacteria are helpful for you. Like some of the bacteria in your body helps you with digestion. But there are other bacteria that can cause infections. Antibiotics are medicines that help fight infections caused by bacteria. Different antibiotics work in different ways. One kind might damage the outer wall of a bacterium. See, a bacterium has a protective wall around it, kind of like a shield. Some antibiotics keep that wall from being built correctly, and without a strong wall, the bacterium can break apart. Other antibiotics make it hard for bacteria to make the materials they need to grow. A bacterium needs to build tiny parts inside itself so it can keep living and multiplying. Some antibiotics interrupt that process. When the bacteria stop growing, your body's own defenses can then help clear the infection. But in any case, the antibiotic helps your body do its job by weakening the bacteria. Different bacteria have different weak spots. One antibiotic might work well for one infection, while a different antibiotic is better for another infection. So what are some infections that an antibiotic might help with? Well, have you ever heard of strep throat? Ugh, have you ever had strep throat? That's a bacterial infection. There are also some ear infections, urinary tract infections, and some cases of pneumonia where antibiotics can help. But doctors have to check very carefully because many sore throats and fevers, they're actually caused by viruses, and antibiotics do not work on viruses. That's why you don't get an antibiotic every time you get sick. A doctor needs to check and make sure it's a bacterial infection. That's why you don't get an antibiotic when you have a cold or a flu, because those are viruses. They're not bacterial infections. A virus is much smaller than bacteria and can't grow the same way that bacteria do. It has to get inside your cells and use them to make more copies of itself. Usually when you have a cold or a flu virus, the doctor will just tell you to rest or drink fluids or maybe take a different kind of medicine instead. Okay, so how are antibiotics made? Well, some antibiotics originally came from living things, like molds and bacteria. Like, for example, have you ever heard of penicillin? You ever heard that word before? Penicillin is what you might get when you have strep throat. And penicillin is made by a kind of mold. I know! We usually think of mold as something you don't want, like you don't want to eat moldy food. But some molds make chemicals that can stop certain bacteria from growing. When making an antibiotic, scientists first study which substance can fight bacteria. And then the medicine has to be tested and measured and cleaned and made in a way that's safe for people to take. Some antibiotics are made by growing helpful microbes in large tanks, and the microbes produce the antibiotic substance. Then the workers separate and purify it. Now, when someone gets an antibiotic, it's very important to take it the way that the doctor or pharmacist said to. Taking the right amount helps the medicine work properly. Stopping too early can sometimes leave some bacteria behind, and those bacteria may keep growing. Antibiotics are a powerful tool, but they're not for every sickness. They work best when they're matched with the right kind of bacterial infection and taken the right way. Oh, bless me. I don't need an antibiotic. It's just a cold, not a bacterial infection. All right, let's have a quick quiz and see what we learned today. What tiny living things can antibiotics help fight? Bacteria. And what is one way an antibiotic can fight a bacterium? Well, it can damage the bacterium's outer shell and stop it from growing. Or it can make it hard for bacteria to make the materials that they need to grow. And why does a doctor choose one medicine instead of another? Because different bacteria have different weak spots, so different medicines work for different infections. Let's play true or false. True or false? Some bacteria can be helpful. Yep, that's true. Some bacteria help your body, including with digestion. True or false? Antibiotics work on every kind of sickness. That is false. They are used for certain bacterial infections. True or false? Some antibiotics originally came from molds or other tiny living things. That is true. Would you rather look through a microscope and see bacteria and viruses, or look through a telescope and see the moon? My son got a microscope for his birthday, and we have had so much fun just putting everything underneath it and going, wow, look at all the little tiny parts of that thing. So I think I would go with a microscope and look at bacteria and viruses. That would be pretty cool. All right, let's play one round of What Am I? What am I? I am too small to see with just your eyes. Some of us are bad, and some of us are good. Antibiotics fight infections caused by me. What am I? I am bacteria. Antibiotics are medicines used for certain bacterial infections. Some antibiotics damage a bacterium's outer wall, others stop bacteria from growing or making the materials they need, and antibiotics can be made from substances first found in molds or other tiny living things. Isn't that cool? Modern antibiotics are tested very carefully before they become medicine. So if you ever have to take an antibiotic, now you know what it is. And I hope you feel better soon. What kind of question do you think we'll ask tomorrow on Curious Kids Every Day? I can't wait to find out. So until then, keep asking questions and stay curious, kids. And we've got some birthdays today. Alma from New York is turning 6. Happy birthday, Alma. Lincoln from Montana is turning 6. Happy birthday, Lincoln. Miles from Wisconsin is turning 8. Happy birthday, Miles. Calvin from Maryland is turning 5. Happy birthday, Calvin. Gianna from Ohio is turning 5. Happy birthday, Gianna. Paige from New Jersey is turning 7. Happy birthday, Paige. Poppy from Florida is turning 6. Happy birthday, Poppy. Jamie from Arizona is turning 2. Happy birthday, Jamie. Atlas is turning 4. Happy birthday, Atlas. Nervaire is from Illinois, and Nervaire is turning 6. Happy birthday, Nervaire. Ishan from California is turning 2 this week. Happy birthday, Ishan. Riley from Hawaii is turning 8 this week. Happy birthday, Riley. And Weston from Georgia is turning 9 this week. Happy birthday, Weston. To all the grown-ups listening, if your curious kid wants their birthday mentioned on the show, please visit supportcuriouskids.com and join the Curious Kids Club. That's supportcuriouskids.com. See you tomorrow.